भगवान श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। राम 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 योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, 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 जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। राम 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 Ram Surat Kumar Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Rama Rama Ram Rama Rama Ram Rama Rama Ram Rama Ram Rama 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 Rama Ram Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surat Kumar 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 Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Yogi Ram Ram Kuratuma, Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Yogi Ram Kuratuma, Jai Guru Raya. சுரக்குமாரி குருராயா ராம ராம ராம் 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 ராம 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 ராம் ராம ராம ராம் ராம ராம ராம் ராம ராம ராம் ராம ராம் ராம ராம ராம் ராம ராம யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா ராம ராம ராம் 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 ராம 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 ராம் ராம ராம ராம் யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா யோகி ராம் சுரக்குமா ஜெய குரு ராயா ராம ராம ராம் 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 ராம Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Rama Rama Ram 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 Rama 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 Ram 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 Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Rama Rama Ram 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 Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Ram Surakuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Surakuma Yogi Yogi Ram Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ram Yogi Ram Ram Rama Rama Ram Yogi Ram Suratuma Yogi Ram Suratuma Yogi Ram Suratuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Suratuma Jai Guru Raya Yogi Ram Suratuma Yogi Ram Suratuma Yogi Ram Suratuma Jai Guru Raya भगवान श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। सर्वं योगी राम सूरत कुमारार्पणमस्तु। With our grateful pranams, we have offered the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Yesterday, we saw how a crow compared itself with every other bird and felt so bad that it felt like suicide, that life was not worth living. It was such a lowly being. But then the Mahatma taught the crow a lesson that could not be easily forgotten even by the humans. One should never compare oneself with anyone else. One is already equipped with the best. And then we saw another story where again the crow was so thirsty and was in search of water. And finally, when it found it, it was deep inside, right at the bottom of a mud pot. The clever crow dropped a small stone after stone and raised the water level, and if it came near enough, he drank it happily and flew away. Likewise, we are in search of happiness. We have thirst for happiness. We go in search of this happiness here and there, and finally we do not find it anywhere. And when we find the true happiness, it is beyond the reach. And then what do? We begin to chant a name, one Nama after the other, and that would bring God closer and closer to us, and finally God is close enough for us that we could easily merge. This is what we saw yesterday. There is just one more story to express the same idea. I believe there was a man with a bundle of worries, a huge bundle of worries, which he found impossible to carry. He was being crushed under the weight of this bundle. So when he was staggering his way, he found God in a human form waiting for him. He did not know it was God. Now this man, God in the human form, asked, "Why? What is it that you are carrying, that you are staggering under its weight?" Then this man said, "Oh, they are the worries, the bundle of worries I carry around, and I am indeed staggering unable to bear the weight. And then God said, "What do you want now?" He said, "I want to get rid of this bundle of worries. If it is small enough, that is enough for me to carry easily. I would be happy and grateful." Then God said, "Oh yes, we shall see to that. Now you go inside this temple, and there are many people there worshipping the Lord. Maybe you can go inside and ask everybody if they have a bundle of worries smaller than yours. In that case, I can exchange it for you." And the man walked in happily because he was very sure he would find a smaller bundle of worries with somebody. But as he went around asking everyone, each one showed a much bigger bundle of worries. He was flabbergasted. He saw that everyone else was carrying a bigger bundle than his. Finally, he came to the conclusion that his was the smallest. And he came running to God and said, "It's enough. I'll keep this bundle itself. I will be able to carry it now. Now that I have found everyone else is carrying a bigger bundle of worries, I'm happy with the smaller bundle. I have realized mine is the smallest." So this is what happens in life too. We may suffer just a little, but then we think that we suffer so much more than what we truly do. And then we imagine that everyone else has much less suffering. But it's only when you go near them, you find out that they are even deeper into the suffering than you. Now we shall see the story of a stag, a deer. Now this deer was living in a forest. One day, there was this lightning, a very frightening, violent lightning that struck the forest, and immediately the forest went into flames. It started to burn. Now that is where our heroine, deer, was living. Now she was so frightened by the fire, and then she ran out. She wanted to survive. And then she ran out of the forest breathlessly. And you see, she was pregnant too. And the time had come for her delivery. Now there was so much thunder and lightning around. She was already frightened. And now because of all that fire, she felt thirsty. As she came out of the forest, she found a stream of water. Happily, much relieved, she ran to the water and she was about to drink. And suddenly she found many crocodiles coming up, just waiting for her to put her mouth into it. She was taken aback, shocked and frightened. And then she turned her head to the left, and there she found at a distance a hunter behind a huge bush. He was hidden, and yet he carried a bow and arrow. The arrow had its target upon the deer. Now the deer was further frightened. It was trembling now, visibly, and the time also had come for its delivery. It was carrying the little ones inside. So frightened as it was by the hunter, it turned to the other side and then it was terrified. There was a lion waiting to pounce upon it. You can imagine the plight of the deer. What a situation. In the front was the stream with the crocodiles. At the back on the left was the hunter. On the right was a lion waiting to pounce on it. And its residence in the forest was already on fire. And now the time for the delivery. Just imagine for a minute yourself in that place. Why imagine? Many of us are in that state already. Such problems, such crisis in life, you cannot move an inch forward or backward or on the side. You feel that you've been cornered and that you feel there's only death all around. Now the deer, terrified as it was, began to think, okay, there is death waiting in the front, waiting at the back, waiting on the sides. So why be frightened and then die? Anyway, the death is for sure. So why should I be afraid to meet the death? Let me die bravely. As soon as it felt like that, you see, to feel like that at the moment of your greatest weakness, out of nowhere from inside, a ray of light comes up, clearing the darkness. Now this deer felt that it should brave up the death, that it should not die frightened. And as soon as this thought came, by the grace of God, things began to change dramatically. What happened? It began to rain. And then there was lightning. Just before the drizzle, there was a terrific lightning with a huge sound of the thunder. The hunter who was aiming at the deer suddenly trembled because of the sudden sound of the thunder. So his target, the deer, the arrow that he sent towards the deer missed its direction. At the same time, because of the lightning sound, triggered by the sound, the lion pounced. Now this deviated arrow went straight to the lion instead of the deer. Now the lion was diverted. It saw the hunter and then it began to run after the hunter. Now the hunter began to run for his life and the lion chasing him. In the meantime, the drizzle became the rain and the forest fire was put out. Just see, in a fraction of a second, everything changed dramatically. The rain that started put off the fire. The hunter missed his target and it went and hit the lion. The lion began to chase the hunter, leaving the deer behind. The deer now found a place, completely relieved. It found a place under a tree and delivered its babies. Now the moral of the story is, it is when we think that everything is lost and there is only death staring in the face and there is absolutely no other goal. If you resort to the name of God just for a fraction of a second, if you can think of God and in desperation call out the name, you will see how dramatically everything about you changes. All that has been threatening you with danger to your life would dramatically change into a blessing, just as it did for the deer. So the story tells us that often we find ourselves in a crisis, and then crisis after crisis after crisis, that we feel exhausted and we feel that we are at the end of our life. And that's when, in desperation, we cry out to God. We call out His name, seeking His grace. And when we do so, we put our entire being in it because of desperation. And that would magically change everything. So it is Nama once again. This is what our Bhagavan said. When you are in great difficulty, just call out this beggar's name. My father would rush help to you. He did not simply say, my father would help you. He said, he used the word rush. My father would rush towards you. Rush to help you. And that's what happened to the deer. The grace would sometimes appear as a certain idea. In the case of the deer, it was the terrified deer became brave, courageous to face death. It was preparing itself with courage to face the death, and that changed everything. So let us remember the story and the teaching of our Bhagavan, that it's when we think that everything is lost completely, at the calling out of the name, everything is gained. We shall now offer our today's prayer at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Bhagavan, we keep on praying and praying, we keep on begging and begging, a million times, with the faith, with unshakable faith in your powerful shrine, that any prayer offered at your feet here would be answered suitably, sooner or later, at your convenience, at your choice of time. We beg you for your immediate divine intervention to bring forth a dharmic normalcy to the world, to the whole world, in all aspects of life. Bhagavan, we beg you to bring in peace, unity, growing friendship, and healthy competition, and mutual help and understanding, and above all, the control of furies of nature. Only you can do it, and we beg you again and again to uproot all the negativities of the human mind that are responsible for today's world as it is. We also beg you to reach out to all those people who have been stranded for varied reasons, here and there, all over the world, without any help or protection. We beg you to reach out to them, to give them help and protection. We also beg you to protect all those unselfish people who have been engaged in selfless service for the sake of the others. Please protect them from criticism and aspersion. We beg you again to promote the economy of our country and support all the steps taken towards it. By your grace, You have often declared that India would progress to its peak, to its great heights in all fields of activity, which include science, technology, and arts. And you have promised that India would become the world teacher, guiding every other country of the world in the path of Dharma. We beg you again and again and again that this promise come true sooner than later. And Bhagwan, we pray and pray in all earnestness and sincerity for unceasing chanting of your name, your powerful name, and unbroken remembrance of your Leelas. We beg you again to bless us to be sattvic instruments in your hands so that we run our everyday life as an offering to you. Bhagavan, please let us not be caught by the snares of Maya. We seek that ultimate grace for that ultimate state of bliss. But then we need to be purified, for which sake we have to chant your name, your powerful name, ceaselessly. And we have to do your service with joy, without any jealousy or competition or complaints, with harmony with people around. And the practice of acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow, is a definite blessing coming from you. You are our well-wisher. Whatever you give to us can only be a definite blessing meant for our spiritual growth, for our greater good, for our closer kinship with you. Then we would be able to detect the living, vibrant, pulsating presence of yours everywhere in everything. Bhagavan, please bless us to be able to see your sankalpa, your will behind all the happenings of life. And more importantly, detect that hidden grace even in the worst, ruinous, disastrous sufferings of life. At those times, what really happens? Some bad karma begins to play. Some bad karma of our past janmas begins to play up. And then what happens? Everything that we thought, security, the position, money, people, relatives, all that would be cut off from us. We would be left completely helpless. And then what happens? We begin to resent that God has singled us out for this particular suffering ruthlessly. God has no grace, no heart at all. And then you begin to blame everyone else for your own failures. But then God, compassionate and generous, would pull you again towards Him and convert all your sufferings into blessings. This is what Bhagavan assured. He told me, wherever Father places this beggar and Devaki, we have not only to accept it wholeheartedly, but be grateful to Him for that. Bhagavan, we beg you to bless us to be grateful to you even for the adversities of life, considering them as blessings straight from you. We seek your blessings for all the species of the cosmos, in whatever state of misery they are, to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we seek that dissolution, that freedom from the vicious cycle of births and deaths. the cycle of endless waves of problems in the ocean of samsara. To be free from that, we have to be free from the tyranny of our ego, our limited being. Bhagavan, please bless us with that immortal life, that eternal living, and eternal servitude to you, that eternal supreme power. Jai Yogiram Siddha Kumar.